Biden said that refugees, I'm putting in quotes, from Venezuela get to stay, right? So even if these are single men, they will say that we're from Venezuela, so therefore we have this special status.
And they're claiming asylum. That's
right.
when it's the 3 years to get a court date. And this is why the most important of all the things, in my estimation, including the wall, that the Biden administration undid relative to the Trump measures at the border, remain in Mexico was the key. You're waiting 3 years in order to get adjudicated as an asylee. Very often, there's not a lot of proof of that, so it's not going to work anyway. They got to wait in Mexico. So what did Mexico do? They closed down their own southern border, so these folks weren't coming in because they were getting 10 cities on their side of the border. That worked.
Amazing thing is about New York City leads the way. Next, it'll be Boston, then it'll be Chicago, then it'll be Denver, and we'll watch
Listen, we've got Chicago. 47 have been arrested migrants since October as part of a retail theft ring, quite organized. Venezuelan sex traffickers branding women behind the ear in Florida. That's a Venezuelan crew. You got the UN funding this. There's a Colombian team working the West Village doing pickpockets, multiple arrests. The cops know what's going on. They're just hamstrung, not only by this migrant crisis, but, of course, the laws here and the bail reform.
Here's what the union head said. Attacks on police officers are becoming an epidemic. And the reason is a revolving door. We're seeing in cases like this one, it's impossible for police officers to deal effectively with crime and disorder if the justice system can't or won't protect us while we do that work. Here are the numbers, Paul. Since the spring of 2022, not even 2 years, you got 172,000 in New York City alone. In that group, 67,000 have housing in 200 different city shelters.
Yeah. So when you say to yourself, why is it that I'm stepping over people on the street? Why do the streets look so dirty? Why? And this just, one of the tenets of Broken Windows was that the air of order, an orderly city feels safe and people behave. When things are nice, people behave. It's really that simple. When there's an air of chaos, when you feel that nobody's in charge, that's when the perps, they feel that vacuum.
That's right.
And that's what they step into. You feel it on the subway. You just feel that there's nobody watching.
Yeah.
And realistically, that's, again, a nuance of what's going on in the city. But it's undeniable. For those of us who live here, you can feel the change over the last, let's say, 5 to 10 years, 5 to 7 years, I would say. Beginning the de Blasio administration, a little better. You had Bill Bratton. But over the last 5 to 7 years, you've really seen a deterioration in and it's not captured entirely by statistics, but just in the atmosphere of the city, it just feels like a lawless place that anything can happen. And that randomness is what keeps you on edge and makes people very nervous.
Well stated. Thank you, Paul. Nice to see you today.
Thank you.
And you.
Paul Mauro.